Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk, my magazine type video series that looks at the breeding, keeping and showing of Exhibition Budgerigars, particularly here in the UK. So following the Feed and Ween video that I did a couple of videos ago, I was asked by one of the people who watched that whether I could redo the video that looks at my soft food and what goes into my soft food and how I make it. As you can probably gather from the title, that's what we're going to look at in this particular video. Before we have a look at that though, as I always say, this is how I do it in my shed, and I'm sure if you go online you will find lots of recipes for soft food and people doing it lots of different ways. I know there are some videos out there already of people's soft food recipes, so by all means have a look at the one that or look at how I do it, but do, you know, shop around and have a look at how some of the other people do it. And of course you may want to you know, pick and mix a little bit as to what goes into your soft food and what your birds are eating. The only thing I would say is, as always, don't try and change it too much too quickly, partly because the birds may not take to that, but also you won't know what effect it may or may not be having on the birds, or which of the changes you've made is having a good or a bad effect on the birds. So so if you're going to change, if you're going to follow one of the soft food recipes, don't change it overnight. If you're not currently using the soft food, then, you know, make one up and give it a try. Before we have a look at the soft food, I just wanted to say a thank you to all those who have been commenting on the various videos, and those of you that have liked the videos as well. It's always appreciated getting feedback on the video, both good and bad, and I do try to answer all of them as quickly as possible, but do bear with me, particularly this time of the year when I am fairly busy. If you do enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button, and please do subscribe to the channel. The subscriptions and the likes help the channel, help the videos, and of course promote the hobby. And if you want early notifications of future videos, then don't forget to hit the bell icon. Right, let's have a look at this soft food. So to begin with, let's have a quick look at some of the things I use to measure it. This is just one of the small dishes that I normally put seed in the breeding cages. I consider that to be one of my measures. I call it my medium scoop measure, and that's what I will use to measure out the first of the ingredients. And the first of those ingredients is in fact the base for my soft food, which is a egg food mix, or a egg food. I've tried a couple of varieties of egg food, and most of them seem fairly similar, have similar ingredients. I'm currently using the one from Haves because it's easier for me to order it that way with my main seed. You're probably aware that I get most of my seed from Haves. So yeah, that is the basic base of the ingredients. I put 2 of those medium scoops into the bowl to start with. So that's the next ingredient that goes in is sweet corn, and for the sweet corn I use a slightly different measure. Any frozen sweet corn will do. I'm currently using this Growers Harvest, which the wife picks me up from Tesco's, and as I say, I use a slightly different measure for this. I use a pint glass, and that gets 1 pint of frozen sweet corn will go into the mix as the second ingredient. The frozen sweet corn I find adds moisture to the mixture. Also the budgerigars, or certainly mine, just absolutely love sweet corn, and this encourages them to pick through the remainder of the egg food. putting the last of the sweet corn in there, the last bit out of the bag. Must remember to order some more. So that's the second ingredient then, which is the frozen sweet corn. Contains a reasonable amount of protein, which of course the young birds will need in order to help them feather up. So that was the second ingredient. And the third ingredient I put in there is carrot. I use carrots that are sort of left over from when the wife's been cooking. She seems to always have a few left over at the end of the week, which she hands over to me. I try to give the carrots a quick blast in the microwave before I grate them and put them in. I've been told, or I've read, that if you don't microwave the carrots, then it's difficult for the birds to break down the carrot to extract all of the vitamins and minerals and all the goodness out of the carrot unless you microwave it for a little bit. So I do try and do that. I don't always manage it, but that's what I try to do. In terms of the amount of carrot I put in, I tend to put in about 2 medium size carrots, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. The carrots again will add moisture to the soft food, but budgerigars do seem to like carrot, and I will quite often just put a piece of carrot in the flight for the birds just to chew on without grating it at all. So yeah, so they will be and they'll gnaw on that for throughout the day. So they do seem to enjoy carrot. It does provide them with some additional goodness, and like I say, it also adds a bit more moisture to the soft food. So the next ingredient then was 2 to 3 medium-sized carrots. So the next ingredient that I put in then is a green veg mix, and I use any green veg for this, so it can be cabbage, celery. I think in this case most of this is some form of lettuce. So there you can see what it looks like. Once again, I put just one of those medium scoops in the medium scoop that you can see here. I just put one of those medium scoops in there for this mix. Again, some of the veg contains slightly more water content than others, so things like celery and the lettuce will contain quite a lot. If I'm using cabbage or broccoli or some of those other type vegetables, then it will contain less water, and that will become apparent at the end, and will depend on how much of some of the other ingredients we will use towards the end of the mixture. So that's the green veg mix then that we add also into the soft food. So having added the green veg, we now start to add some of the supplements, and the first of those is calcium, and I use this 15ml scoop for the to measure out the calcium, and I use 2 of those scoops will go into the mix. In terms of the calcium that I'm using, it's a animal grade calcium powder that I'm using. I buy it in bulk. It lasts quite a while, and I find using it in the soft food ensures that I'm getting into the birds, whereas in the water I'm never too sure whether it is. So I try and spread this out around the soft food mix overall. And like I say, I use 2 of the 15ml scoops to go into there. I keep the calcium mix in the a sealed container once it's been opened. If it's sealed in the plastic when they arrive, they're fine, but once I've opened it, I put it into a plastic container that can be sealed, just to try and keep it a bit fresh. But like I say, it does last for a fair old while. So that is the next ingredient goes in. As I say, 30 mils of calcium for this amount of soft food that I'm making up, just calcium powder, chalk really. And the next ingredient that goes in is an additive that is used, that a lot of breeders I think use, and it's called Breedmax White. I know it's used by a number of breeders, but also by the pigeon fancy. And once again, I use 2 scoops of the Breedmax White, 2 of those 15mm scoops of the Breedmax White to go in there, in with this level of or this amount of soft food that I'm making up. And that's it does tell you how much to put in when you buy it, so it gives you based on the weight of the soft food, and that's how I've judged that. So I'll just show you a picture of the Breedmax White. This is the Breedmax White here, as you can see. That's what the box it comes in. It contains 2 of those big silver foil packs. Last me, a fair old while. So doesn't work out that expensive when you consider the amount you will use or the amount you use in the soft food overall. So there we go. That is the Breedmax White in there. The next thing that I put in is really an ingredient that helps to take out some of the moisture. So you can actually add as much of or as little of this as you like. I tend to use 2 small scoops of this, and the small scoop for me is just one of those smaller seed feeders or water feeders that you find in some of the finch cages. So I use 2 of those in here. If at the end it feels a bit too moist still, I will add another scoop of this because it just soaks up the moisture a little bit. So, and I'm just using again Growers Harvest porridge oats. Contains reasonable amount of protein, but not as much as the rolled oats that will go into the mix a bit later. So that's the porridge oats. 2 small scoops of that goes into the soft food mix. And the next ingredient that's going to go in is this. You can see it to the right of the bowl here. So Avismart Breeders Plus Pro. It's a mixer of seeds and almost like a tonic-y type seed, I suppose might be the best way to refer to it. I add just 1 of the small scoops of this into it. The birds do seem to enjoy picking through the seed bits of this in the soft food, so it's certainly something that they do enjoy eating. It just adds a bit of variety to the soft food. You can see it just here, and there you go. You can see it contains a variety of different seeds. See if I can get it a bit more in focus. There we go, you can see it there. Once again, that just gets sprinkled over the top for the time being at the moment. We will mix all this together in a while. So that's the next ingredient that goes in there. So the Avismart Breeders Pro or Breeders Plus Pro, and 1 small scoop. And to that mix I'm now going to add just some plain groats. I add 1 of the medium scoops of groats to the seed mix. Again, groats add quite a bit of protein and fats to it. I do find the birds again will pick these out. They're often one of the things you can see that the see the remains of them in the soft food dish once they've finished with it. So you can see that they have eaten most of the groats. So encourages, I think seeing these encourages the birds to start picking at the remainder of it as well, a bit like the sweet corn that we've put in. So 1 medium scoop of groats goes into the seed mix. Goes into the soft food mix. And the next ingredient is a bit of a change for me, a bit of a new ingredient for me. and I picked this ingredient up off a video that I think it was John Bird did on his soft food mix, and it's this Cushionaz a mix. I think it's mainly designed for horses, as you can see from the container, but I know he uses it, and I think he got it from a number of other breeders who also use it. It's adding herbs mainly is what it seems to contain. It's supposed to be very good for the digestive system, so that's what is added. You can see it there, so it's quite a fine mix, and there's a scoop that comes with it, and I just put one of those scoops in. I really don't know whether this is adding anything, but I know a number of breeders use it, like I say, and I've been looking at the John Bird's and his partner's birds. They seem to be doing really well on it, so I thought I would give it a try. And that really is the last of the ingredients that go into my soft food mix. So I thought, while we're looking at this and while I mix the rest of it, mix it all together, talk a little bit very briefly about why we feed soft food to the birds. For me, there are a few reasons. One is to add a bit of variety for the birds, so they can have a bit of variety in they're not just eating seed. And if you get them hooked on it when they are babies, they will eat it as adults. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get one of the adults to an adult to eat it if it hasn't had soft food previously. It can take a bit of coaxing. I would say if you have got a problem with getting birds to eat soft food, give them an extra bit of sweet corn in there, because like I say, almost all the birds will definitely eat the sweet corn. The other reason for giving it is to get it's a good way of getting the supplements into the birds. I know a lot of people put supplements in water. I will sometimes find that supplements in water can be a little bit wasteful. That's just my own opinion. I know lots of people do it, but my own opinion is it can be just a little bit wasteful, because you changing the water reasonably regularly and you end up chucking in a fair old bit of it away. So I find if I put it in the soft food, I know how much they're eating. I can adjust how much soft food I'm putting in each cage depending on how much they're eating, and I can add more soft food as the chicks hatch and start to grow. And then the other reason I use soft food is to help get a bit of moisture into the birds when they're feeding the babies, because obviously just having seed, and I know the parents will drink water and that will be brought back up at the same time as they're bringing the seed back up. I just think this is an easy way of getting a little bit of extra moisture into them. So the mix that I've made up goes into these plastic tubs. The mix that I've made up will fill 2 of these plastic tubs, and that will normally last me anywhere between just over a week if I've got the breeding cages early on and there aren't very many chicks in there. Just over a week if I haven't got too many chicks. But if there's lots of chicks, it could go down to the 2 of these may only last me a week. I also feed the soft food mix into the main flight and the nappy flight. The nappy flight get it daily, based on 1 small teaspoon per bird, and in the main flight they get it twice a week, and again it's I give them around about 1 teaspoon per bird. So there you go. Let me know what you think, and do leave some comments about what sort of soft food mix you use. Well, there we are. I hope you enjoyed that quick look at the soft food. As I say, it's just the way I do it, what I put into my soft food in my shed. People do it differently. Find out what works for you. But that's about all we've got time for in this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and do subscribe. Coming up in the next video is part 2 of the Peter Merritt lecture or talk that he gave at Swindon BS. I know that part 1 went down really well, so Part 2 coming up in about a week's time. So don't forget to watch that. But until then, please do stay safe and enjoy your birds.